Hello, everybody. My name's Chris Faddis. This is my good friend, Brad Hahn, with Solidarity HealthShare. We're sharing this out to a lot of folks, so we're going to give it a couple minutes before we start. But we're going to talk today about the 3 C's of what we believe are why healthcare sharing works. I do move my hands a lot, so I hope that's okay with you. But Brad and I are together, so while we're just kind of getting our audience together, I'm hoping a few folks will join us. We want to talk about the reasons why healthcare sharing is working for so many Americans, especially so many Catholics and Christians, why we're enjoying it for our families. We've actually been able to use healthcare sharing and see the success, why our friends are loving it. We're going to talk about that today. But while we're letting some folks join us, I want to ask Brad a question.
Sure.
You were just in Rome.
Yes.
So I want to know, if I'm in Rome, where do I want to eat? Like I'm going to Rome, I'm only there because I'm on a tour and I've got 2 days in Rome and we're on this tour, but I'm going to sneak away from the tour guide and I'm near St. Peter's Square. Where am I going to go eat?
I would go right around the corner to Piazza Navona,
okay,
and go to Tucci. They have incredible Jewish fried artichokes, some good Classico Chianti, and then they also have some really good pasta, homemade pasta made from the cheek of the pork. And they put some pecorino cheese on it.
Is that the one? That's the one that has the nice, like, it almost looks like a scene out of that Picasso painting, right?
Yes.
With the yellow awning.
Yeah.
And you can watch all the people. It's amazing to watch all the artists and all the people in Piazza Navona.
Yeah, I'm usually so involved in a conversation, I don't get to see the people.
You actually talk to people in Rome?
Yeah.
Because in America, when you eat, you're kind of one of those guys that does
No. In Rome, you got to talk to people.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
So there's one other thing I want to ask Brad. Hello, everyone, again. Chris Faddis, Brad Hahn, Solidarity HealthShare. We're going to talk healthcare in a couple minutes, but I know we've got some folks joining us. So Brad had this really amazing experience in Rome, and I get a text from him from Rome, and I want you to tell people. He goes to have lunch at a random place, and tell people what happened.
I met the surgeon who operated on John Paul II after his assassination attempt in 1981. So I had an amazing conversation with him.
This is just random. This wasn't like an introduction. Randomly, Brad meets the surgeon who operated on Pope John Paul II. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
The guy saved his life. Well, Mary saved his life, I guess, is really the story. But
he facilitated it, though.
Well, we're here to talk about health sharing, and I want to. We're going to take questions and stuff as well. But I want to talk today. So many of you joined us last month when we had our Facebook Live, and a lot of people responded well to it. So we're going to try to do this more often. You know, we started Solidarity HealthShare really as a response to our own need in our families. We saw the issue with the insurance system and the affordability of insurance. We saw the concerns that we had about conscience issues when the Affordable Care Act mandates came out. And we saw this real disoriented, disassociated system that really separated the doctor from the patient.
Exactly.
And having worked with a lot of family members, clients of yours who were dealing with this, me having been through some experiences in my family, we saw the problem. But what's amazing is Solidarity HealthShare is we've been working on this for a long time.
Right.
We've got members. We're growing. But really, for a year, less than a year now. We've been to market, and what's awesome is seeing our members benefit from this.
Yes.
I got to tell you one story. So I have a friend named Tom. Tom had a stroke about a month and a half ago. Very, generally healthy guy. He's actually an athletic trainer. He's a good friend. I asked him permission to share this story. Tom's mom passed away last week. And so pray for his mom, her soul, and so Tom can't go see her, But I called a friend of mine. I said, hey, can you go, Father, and see Tom? So Father goes to see him on Saturday. Tom sends me a message. I'm so excited you sent Father Scott here. He's coming back to say Mass for me.
Wow.
To honor to memorialize my mother's life here.
Great.
So yesterday in his room, in his rehab room, Father Scott did Mass. That's the community aspect of what we're building.
Yeah.
How awesome is that?
No.
That we can do that. So I want to let's talk about the 3 C's. Let's start with community.
Yeah, that's to me the 3 C's basically an efficient way to pay for your medical expenses is community and conscience. We have to make sure that when we pay for medical expenses that don't violate our well-formed Catholic conscience. And the third thing is the cost. So if we can deliver as an organization, a national not-for-profit ministry, deliver on those 3 C's, we could have tremendous amount of value. But also, what I like most about it is we're being so faithful to Jesus Christ and the teaching of his church.
Yeah.
And so we're faithful even in his small matters. Because if you look at it, when I was just in Rome meeting with other international pro-life leaders, most of the pro-life leaders already said they've succumbed to the idea that I'm immorally complicit in cooperating in evil by paying into a medical system there that pays for euthanasia and abortifacients and abortions.
Right.
So they've already given up on the idea.
Right.
Well, us in the United States, we don't have to give up that fight yet. We don't have to capitulate to our government and be forced to violate our conscience. That's what's beautiful about medical cost sharing.
Yeah.
Is where we can get a group of like-minded members forming a community that form around the Catholic teaching of the Roman Catholic Church on the ethics and the morals, and we can sleep better at night because I know I'm not violating my conscience and doing something that's contributing to amoral activity.
Right, right.
That's what I'm excited
And even
about.
here in America, where they're talking about taking away some of those deals that, the new the Affordable Care Act, American Health Care Act, whatever it's called now, there's this thought that, they're going to solve the problem.
Yeah.
But what happened 8 years ago could happen again. We could be back in this situation where someone says, nope, we're going to require these things of you. We're going to make it permanent.
Well, Chris, I'd like to correct you there.
Yeah, please correct me.
I don't think anything's changed since the Affordable Care Act, because the American Health Care Act basically just took the fine from whatever the fine was down to zero.
Right.
But the law is still the same. I'm still forced to pay for medical insurance,
right.
individual medical insurance for my family and myself. But I just don't get fined if I don't anymore. It's still the law of the land.
Right.
So,
but also the other piece is that the essential health benefits, which include all the services that us as Catholics are concerned about, contraceptives, sterilizations, those are still required unless their state applies for an exemption.
right.
Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. So that's what's happening now is the Affordable Care Act, the American Health Care Act, is still forcing insurance companies to issue policies that have those essential
right.
health benefits, that forces us Catholics to violate our conscience.
And if you're paying for that, whether it's through your employer, through your own individual plan, or as an employer yourself, you're morally complicit in that act. And that's right.
Yeah, well, there's different levels of moral culpability, of cooperating in evil, and so if you're actually providing the vehicle for your employees, to compel them and to give them the opportunity to participate in illicit, amoral activity, your moral culpability goes up in the eyes of God.
Right.
I'm no
and
moral.
The employee might be less culpable, but they're still culpable at some level.
Exactly.
Yeah. So real quick, just wanted, for people who have just joined us, we're Chris and Brad from Solidarity HealthShare. We're here to talk to you about kind of the 3 C's of what healthcare sharing provides and why we're doing this to create a Catholic community of folks who share in one another medical needs. We're active, we're growing, and we're sharing in needs every day. And the great thing is, one of the biggest questions people ask is affordability, right? But also is, what happens, Brad, if somebody has a stroke? What happens? What do you do? What are you guys going to do when one of your members has a stroke?
Can I play the devil's advocate?
Please do.
Yeah. And so here's how the process works. So someone goes to a hospital and the bills are overinflated. Just like Solidarity, a bill was submitted by an emergency room, $652 for one pill, and a 90-day supply is $80 for that same pill. So these bills are overinflated. No one's doing an audit of these bills in these emergency rooms or hospitals. Then that bill is turned over to the insurance company for reimbursement. And so in my mind, I always thought, sure, the insurance company is being a good steward. They're going through and analyzing every single bill to try to get the best value. But no, they're just doing block discounts. So if a hospital submits a $2 million worth of bills from many different patients over a period of a week or so, they'll just say, why don't you take 1.2 million this week for that. And so to me, there's no one's, the fox is watching the hen house, basically what's happening.
And they're all in the same, the people who are on the boards of the Medicare system to create all the CPT codes and diagnostic codes and billing codes, they're all working for the insurance companies in the hospital.
Exactly.
They're all those associations. So who's in control of this kind of game of how these bills get paid?
The insurance company. And here's something else you always have to be mindful as Catholic, is whoever pays and whoever is the third-party payer for the medical issues and concerns and such, the medical treatments, they control the ethics.
Right.
Yeah, and so who's controlling the moral ethics right now in our healthcare? Insurance companies and the government. And look what the government's just facing us to do. They're forcing us to violate our conscience. So to us, as a faithful Catholic, we need to take back, we need to be responsible for the payment of our medical expenses, and that's what we do at Solidarity.
Right.
So Solidarity just basically facilitates the sharing of our members' medical expenses. Our members are paying the expenses for other members. We take control, and since we're paying, we get to control the ethics.
Right. And we get to facilitate that by our member guidelines. which are we've got the ethical and religious directives of the bishops right in there, and we make sure that that's not going to happen.
Exactly. Yeah, we got the blueprint.
Right.
I mean,
right.
we're so grateful in our country to have the ethical and religious directives that the bishops wrote.
Right.
That's the blueprint for all faithful Catholic individuals and Catholic healthcare providers to follow this. But now we got to keep in mind that's a basic ethical minimalism.
Right.
That's the minimum.
That's what you have to do to get by.
To get by.
Right.
But as Solidarity, we're going to try to go above and beyond that.
Right.
And so I'll give you a great example of that to go for an ethical maximalism is our members eligible for sharing for a reversal of a tubal ligation or reversal of a vasectomy.
Right.
Because we want to help that individual, that family, restore their body to how God intended it.
Right.
So that's what we're talking about, more of an ethical maximalism. So we want to go above and beyond what's our requirements as the minimal requirements.
And actually go encourage people and help them go above and beyond that
Exactly.
and make the changes
yeah,
they need to make.
And fulfill
or
God's
if
plan
if
for
it's
us.
getting off of birth control and going on to NFP, we want to support that and encourage them to find the resources to say, hey, I'm going to learn about natural family planning. I'm going to change the way I live my marriage.
Right.
And we've seen, many of you Catholics who are out there watching this have seen the fruits of that.
Exactly.
That these people who their marriages have completely changed through NFP.
Yeah.
It's incredible, and that's something that we can offer and encourage and promote through Solidarity for our members.
That's what's needed right now in our medical system is a truly authentic Catholic medical system, and also too to coordinate all this,
Right.
because we got Maggie's Place here in Phoenix was a beautiful ministry, and we got all these ministries that aren't connected currently in the church.
Right.
Well, that's the goal of Solidarity, is to bring all these great Catholic organizations together for the benefit of our members, but also to benefit the entire Catholic community of the United States.
Right, right.
So it's time for us all to come together as one large community, not only as members of Solidarity, but even the providers,
Right.
and all the nonprofits that do such great work.
And all the Catholic physicians who are concerned. I mean, I hear this from Catholic physicians all the time. They're concerned there may be a day they can't practice medicine.
Well,
and so to be able to grow an authentic community of Catholics who, hey, these could be your patients.
Exactly.
As we grow this, and as more and more people become involved in this, that these physicians have patients who are coming to them because they want the kind of care they can give, and perhaps that physician can start spending more time with the patient and educating and getting to know them and the things that physicians don't have time for anymore in
Exactly.
our current medical system.
Yeah, because the average primary care physician now sees about 60
Right.
clients a day and 60 patients a
Have
day.
2 to 5 minutes max to
At
spend
max.
time with
Its
them.
average
Yeah.
is under 2 minutes now.
Right.
And so gone are the days of, maybe we're dating ourselves, Marcus Welby, you probably don't even know who that is. It used to be a TV show.
I just fell asleep. I don't know what you're talking about.
But if you look at it, that's the kind of relationship we need is, when I grew up, my primary care physician knew everything about me, my
Right.
2 brothers, my family's health history. So when my family went in for any type of medical issues, they knew exactly our lifestyle and everything,
Right.
and they could help us. Well, right now it just seems like we're very reactive type of medicine, and we're not proactive.
Right.
And so we need to be more proactive in our medical care.
I want to encourage people to post questions. We're talking about Solidarity HealthShare and how healthcare sharing is really, to us, it's the answer for Catholics on how to pay for your medical costs.
Exactly.
I personally, and people ask me all the time, I personally think it's the answer. I think we've got a ways to go for certain things that we're trying to build, but what we provide, I look at, you talked about medical bills and the bundling and the things hospitals do. We had a bill, one of my roles with Solidarity is overseeing the operations, and I sometimes get to review some of the medical bills and just kind of audit and make sure we're on track. And we had a bill come through, it was a medication that they had to give up somebody in the hospital. It was the cost of the medication, and a retail cost would be $1.20 for that dose. They charge $652.
Yeah.
That's the erroneous, ridiculous pricing. And Solidarity goes and we go get that discounted for our members. That bill, was discounted 85%, I believe, that total bill. So that's the beauty of it. When people have that fear question of what happens if something big happens, look, we're working with experts. We're here to help. We've got ways to discount those bills and keep those costs down. So you talked about conscience.
Right.
And how Solidarity solves the conscience issue. So let's talk about the cost. So we talked about the cost on how we pay for medical bills, but somebody just posted on here about being a member of a HealthShare and they're not really happy. So maybe it's the cost, but maybe it's also the functionality. So let's talk about cost, but also why Solidarity is different and perhaps better for some folks than other HealthShares.
Yeah, and so that's what we're trying to get around is that whole third-party payer issue, where individuals have no idea what the cost of medical expenses are and what they're paying for. That's why you get these $652 pills. and such. And so the first thing we have to do is be more proactive in how we select where we're going.
Right.
And we have a lot of negotiation power up front when we talk about it. And a classic example is if I have to go in for one of those stress tests for the heart because I'm getting older now. And so should I go to the hospital to get that done?
Right.
You know, where the hospital, that's going to be the most expensive place for me to go. Or do I shop around a little bit, make a few extra phone calls, and find a place that's off the hospital, off the beaten path a little bit, just as fine service, just as fine facility, you know, but for about a third of the cost.
Perfect example of that is like an MRI. You may pay $4,000 in a hospital versus $1,000 in an MRI clinic across the street.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it could be the same place, and the doctor's not necessarily going to care on that front. Surgery, you know, knee surgery. You know, people go to the University Medical Center for the knee surgery. It's going to cost $25,000 versus whatever, maybe 10 or 15 in a regular, you know, surgical center. So that's one thing that one of the most important things that people ask those questions, and oftentimes ask your doctor. Because a lot of times the doctor's just whatever's easiest, but if you say, hey, this one's kind of expensive, do you have another surgical center? A lot of times they do have a couple places they can operate in.
And that's what we did. My son just had to get an MRI on his ankle and his calf. And so we actually got a referral from a chiropractor who we had a relationship with a cash MRI person, and you know, we save Solidarity.
And one important thing about Solidarity is that our members can choose those physicians. They can choose who to go to, and they can do all that. Now, we're going to advise you if you're going to a provider who's unfriendly with billing, and let you know that that's going to be a problem. But so one of the questions then, so with cost, as far as what does it cost a family? So I think the most important thing is, I'm not going to give all the pricing. You can go to our website, solidarityhealthshare.org, and download that info. But like, you know, for your family and my family, there's 4 of you, there's 6 of us.
Yeah.
We both pay the same amount. We pay $4.49 a month, right? And then for a single, and this is the most comprehensive program we have, a single is $199 a month. So, you know, you can go down as low as $107 a month if you're a single and you want the least comprehensive program that we have available. But the cost is really affordable. You know, some people will say, well, my employer sponsors most of my insurance, that's not affordable for me. That's fair. Right. But a lot of people, I mean, I have friends here in Arizona who are paying their family contribution to the insurance is $600-700, and their employer's paying $1,100 or $1,200 on top of that. We're saying, hey, $449 for the whole family.
Exactly. And the reason that those insurance prices are going up still is because Congress is not addressing the fundamental flaw of the third-party payer system,
which is a cost issue.
A cost issue, and to me, they still don't get it, because even with pre-existing conditions, you know, Congressman Speaker Ryan, his solution for pre-existing condition was to throw another $15 billion at insurance companies. Well, I love what Ronald Reagan said, is that, you know, government, you know, may not be the solution to the problem, they are the problem.
Right.
And that's what's going on here, is the insurance companies and the government are dictating how healthcare is delivered. We have an incredible healthcare system in this country, but we have the worst payer system in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And if we don't deal with the anywhere from 30 to 60% waste that's going on in healthcare, especially when it comes to pre-existing conditions, where the doctor says, I don't know, go get an MRI, go see this specialist, do this, and no one's paying attention to what's going on. I read this great quote from a pioneer in medicine. He was one of the early educators of physicians. He said, listen to your patients, they're telling you the diagnosis.
Right.
You know, and that's the thing, doctors don't have time anymore in this current system to listen to their patients, and so you have to send them out. So all of those extra costs, unneeded tests, unneeded scans, unneeded visits, and medications. I mean, you were talking about a client of yours who's on 20 different medications. Chances are, if we took him to a pharmacist and they went through everything, he'd probably find out he only needed to be on 5.
Well, that's what we did. We had to check him into the Mayo. I checked him in the Mayo Clinic yesterday because he's on 20 different medicines. There's interactions, and so now we're doing exhaustive screening to see what's perfect for him.
Yeah, awesome. I'm going to just take a look at comments. So while I'm doing that, I want you to talk about. I addressed community a little bit.
I think we need to talk about the process.
Go ahead. Yeah, let's do it. So with Solidarity Health Share, we're here to talk about healthcare sharing, how it solves the problem for Catholics and Christians, and when you're looking for a way to pay for medical costs. While we're talking, if you want to jump to our website or call us, it's 844-313-4999. Are you proud of me? Remember that? And it's solidarityhealthshare.org. You can also click contact us on our Facebook page. So go ahead and talk about how it works.
More of a practical question is, a lot of people will call in and ask me this question: how does this actually work? And to me, it's no different than having an insurance. I know how the initial process works. So the initial process works is I get to select the doctor who I think is best for me and my family. When I go to that doctor, I show them the Solidarity Health Share card, and I basically say we're self-pay patients. We're responsible for our medical expenses, and we're part of a national healthcare sharing ministry that facilitates the sharing of members' medical expenses. And so in turn, once that bill, that doctor, then the provider, if they're not sure what health sharing ministries are, they can call Solidarity, and our call center stands by and explain how health sharing works. But then the bills are submitted to Solidarity.
Yeah.
That's what's beautiful about this. And what Solidarity does, Solidarity has a process to vet that bill, to make sure it's a fair and reasonable, like a reference-based price, to make sure it's a fair and reasonable price in the industry right there. And if it's not, it's flagged for negotiation. And it can be negotiated in a couple ways. Sometimes, most of the time, Solidarity will negotiate on behalf of the member. But sometimes, I'll give you an example. My wife Julie went in and had a pre-negotiated a rate for my son Andrew at physical therapy. And so Julie pre-negotiated an $80 visit per visit, and the physical therapist ended up billing Solidarity $290 a visit. So Solidarity could have picked up the phone, but that irritated my wife Julie so much. For those that know her,
right.
Julie picked up the phone and said, "Hey, we had a deal, $80." So they resubmitted the bill for $80. And just like Julie being a little more proactive on that than you would typically be saying, "I don't care, a third-party payer insurance system is paying for this. I really don't care what the costs are." Julie's diligence and her due diligence there saved Solidarity a few $1,000s.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and
it's
so
amazing.
Yeah,
and that's the kind of thing that if you don't pay attention to that, you don't realize that the reason your insurance costs are going up is that's happening to every single one of us in America.
Exactly.
Today.
No one knows.
None of us are paying attention, and the insurance is paying the bill. I talked to a woman recently who left an OB practice during her whole process of having a baby, and she ended up having the baby. Months later, she gets a statement from the insurance that they paid this bill. And this bill was for services that were never received from the OB that she left.
Wow.
And the insurance company said, "That's okay." And they also sent her a check.
Yeah.
It was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. So they're not paying attention to this stuff. The cost issue is such a concern.
Yeah. And where we get sideways in this country on health insurance, in my opinion, is once we expect health insurance and have a third-party payer responsible for 90% of our medical expenses, and we want to insure against that,
right.
That's when things get out of control.
Right.
It's just like on my car. If I had to pay for make sure 90% of my expenses on my vehicle were paid for, imagine what that insurance policy would do, to replace wiper blades and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But there's some things we're responsible for, on our vehicle.
Yeah.
That's the same thing we have to do for our maintenance for ourselves.
Yeah.
Is we got to be responsible for some of these things on our own and expect a third party to take care of us.
Right.
And then remember what I said earlier, once we abrogate to a third party, the payer system, there goes our moral ethics too.
Absolutely.
So we got to preserve our ethics.
I want to. There's a couple comments here. One is from a member of ours who is Kelly, who's a member, and she said she loves Solidarity. So thank you, Kelly, for that. This actually reminded me of something. I want to talk about the community pieces.
Yeah.
My wife just had a baby a month ago tomorrow, and our parish, Zelly, is named after St. Teresa's mother, Zelly. And so our parish has a meals program, and most people, you have friends or family or your parish does this. They do meals for moms. So what was awesome is 7 meals came, and of the 7 folks, 3 of those people are members of Solidarity, right?
Wow.
So when we talk about community, Kelly's one of those people. She dropped off awesome chicken enchiladas last night, and it was, it's so great that you have, when we go to church, we're in this community, but to be able to materially share with the people that we go to mass with every Sunday, the people that we go through, our kids go through religious education together.
That we're in communion.
We're in communion together. That's the community we're building here. And I really love that. Somebody asked what the 3 C's were that we're talking about today. It's cost, which is the affordability and how we handle the cost in healthcare sharing, and help hopefully save you money, and then conscience and how we protect your conscience and how we ensure that you will not ever have to pay for something that morally violates your conscience.
A well-formed conscience.
A well-formed conscience. In light of the teaching of the Catholic Church.
Exactly.
Let's clarify that.
Yeah, there's no
because there's some consciences I don't want to follow.
No free will here.
Yeah. And then community. So community is that piece, like I was saying, the fact that we were able to interact and send a priest out to a member's hospital room to celebrate Mass for him, and how these members are bringing meals to my family's household. We have a family in our parish who needed some help with a medical expense, and some people came forward and covered that cost for them.
Yeah.
They're not members yet. They're going to be now because they saw that. That's the beauty of what we're building here. Somebody asked a question, and I can answer it, or you want to. Is Samaritan Ministries or Solidarity better? Obviously, Samaritan Ministries has been doing this. The other health shares have been doing this for a long time, and God bless them, and they're doing great work. We do believe we offer some things that they don't, and we hope you'd see it as better. But obviously, what I would say to you is call us up and have that conversation to compare whether or not the HealthShare you're currently with is better or not. I think we offer, electronic payment options. We offer a card that you can give to your provider so they can send the bills directly to us.
Yeah, but to me though, Chris, I believe we do have the better mousetrap.
Good. Go for it.
Okay,
yeah.
but
I'm trying to be careful.
You're being charitable, but to me, if I look at it I'm trying to live my Catholic faith to the fullest.
Right.
And we're the only healthcare sharing ministry out there that's bound and determined to be 100% faithful to the teaching of the Catholic Church.
Right.
That's the bottom line.
Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, and so I want to be faithful in even the smallest
and the
matters.
beauty of that is not just like this, triumphant flag that we're Catholic. It's this beauty that we're tapping into the richness of the moral and ethical directives that we have from the Church and the teachings of St. Thomas Aquinas and the principle of double effect and all these things to make these decisions in the right way. We're not just willy-nilly saying, oh, that doesn't sound right.
No.
We're actually able to take a really good, hard look at a problem and say, well, what does the Church teach us on this?
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite sayings as a lawyer. When somebody asks me a legal question, I'll say, it depends.
Yeah.
Like, and it's the same thing with the teaching of the Church, like on the principle of double effect, whether abortion, indirect abortion is morally permissible. Well, it depends. We got to go through the analysis.
Yeah, exactly.
And so then after we go through the analysis, then we can make
indirect abortion.
Indirect.
Make sure we're clear on that. Yeah.
And so I think I said indirect.
You did, but I want to make sure people heard
perfect.
it.
Yeah. Thanks. And so then that's what we're trying to do is, the Catholic Church has a process and a systems how to think these issues through.
Yeah.
And so we don't have to invent this stuff on our own. We just have to follow the great teaching, the beautiful teaching of the Church. That solves our problems for us. Right. And so that's what we're striving
to do. And that'll
to
come into play for most of our members when they come into end-of-life issues.
Oh, exactly.
I remember when my first wife was dying of cancer, to be able to call you and to work together on walking through the process of, do we take her to hospice? Do we remove her from treatment?
Right.
Do we worry this feeding tube's acting up and she's a few days from death? Do we worry about it at this point? All of those questions can be answered through what the Church has given us in this gift. So the goal for Solidarity is to continue offering that education and that resource to our members.
That may be something else we should post, that article I wrote on
how to make an end-of-life
decision.
Yeah, we will do that. We'll share that in the comments, an article on how to make end-of-life decisions by Brad. I want to get to another question. How do we handle chronic type 1 diabetes? We handle pre-existing conditions in a few ways. Things like diabetes, heart disease, blood pressure, those kind of things are all handled through our Health Track program. So if you're a type 1 diabetic, you would qualify for what is called our Health Track program, where we have a health coach that works with you, monitors your condition, looks at your records, sees how you're doing managing. Most people with type 1 diabetes tend to be okay in management, but maybe they could use some help or things got out of whack, and so from a food standpoint, they need some help. So we will help you with that. So we will offer you to go on that Health Track program, and once if it comes to a point where we say, well, after 3 months, this person is under control, they're doing great, we're going to take you off of that program, and then we'll be there if you need us later on. So type 1 diabetes is certainly something we share in as long as you're a part of that Health Track program. And that's what's great about Health Track is you get into the Health Track program, you're doing those things we're asking you to do, you're fully shareable. That condition is shareable pursuant to our guidelines. Yep. So that's a beautiful thing. We actually hope to kind of increase and improve that program here soon. For our members, but those conditions, weight, so even people who are obese or just overweight, people like me, people with diabetes, blood pressure conditions, those kind of issues would qualify for Health Track. So any other questions, you feel free to post them. Thank you, Aslam, for the God bless. God bless you as well. I would love, Kelly, if you're still watching, I would love for you to post another comment, and I just want to know from you, do you miss insurance? I actually know the answer to this question because we've had this conversation before. But I want to know, Kelly, do you miss insurance? Or are you happy with health sharing? And yeah, I don't see, am I missing any other questions here?
I don't know, I've never looked at a Facebook account before.
Yeah, this is Brad. Brad is still learning about Facebook, so maybe there's somebody out there who can donate some services to teach you Facebook. No. I'm not even talking about marketing, just teach him.
I don't want to learn.
His daughter wants to teach him, and he won't take it.
That's what's so funny. Last night, I told my wife Julia this morning, I said, Chris and I are doing another Facebook Live, and it's going to be boosted, and we're going to boost this out. I was talking like that.
Yeah.
And Julie says, what does that mean to boost it out? And I said, I have no idea.
Yeah.
And she says, but you sounded so confident.
It means when it's over, we spend a little money and we get this out to more people. But the great thing is we've had a lot of folks watching us so far. I want you to know, 5,000 views. We are so grateful to be in this work. Another thing that I think people, I forget to tell people this, Solidarity HealthShare is a non-profit 501c3 ministry. We are not, this isn't a business. Brad and I are here being stewards of this organization and of the funds of our members and making sure that it pays the bills for our members.
Exactly.
With our board of directors. We are here to serve you, and I got to say, it is such an awesome thing to know what's being built here, to see what's happening. And every week that we get those, check runs, and we have to sign off that they can send the checks out, to be able to say a little prayer for those families and what they're going through. Most of them are minor things, normal things. Another thing that's different, I want to remember that, but wellness exams is something that's different between Solidarity and other health shares. We actually share in your yearly wellness exams, including your baby checkups and all that stuff. If you have a newborn, all those checkups they have to have the first year. That's all shareable. We want you to get those wellness exams.
Yeah, the other big issue too is mental illness.
Yes.
Mental health counseling. And so we provide for a certain.
That's coming, and that'll be in our most recent guidelines that are coming out. Mental health there'll be some sharing for that.
Yeah, we just wanted to make sure because that's impacting so many lives today.
Right.
And so we wanted to make sure those visits, are shareable.
I want to encourage you. So many great things are coming. I would say over the next 3 months, we're rolling out some new programs and some new services for our members that we think are really going to help them. Really improving it. And so I want to encourage you to join us. Be a member of our community of Solidarity HealthShare, where we share each other's medical needs. My wife's, pregnancy. We just had our baby. The hospital bill was paid before we walked into the hospital. You know how awesome it is to go to a hospital and not worry that every time someone opens the door, it's the billing folks.
Exactly.
And it was already paid for.
Yeah, all the bills should be paid by now.
They're all taken care of.
Yeah,
in fact, my wife yesterday, we got a check, something we paid out of pocket for a visit for my daughter, her newborn visit, and that was like 2 weeks ago. We got a check yesterday.
Wow.
How awesome! My wife's like, that was so fast,
Yeah.
and that's not because I. Or, one of the people running the company. That's just how the system works.
Yeah.
So we want to encourage you to call us 844-313-4999. You can click contact on the Facebook page. You can leave a comment saying, hey, can someone contact me, and we'll reach out to you through Facebook. However you want to do it, or visit solidarityhealthshare.org. Please share this video, tell your friends, and let's build an authentic Catholic community who share in one another's medical bills, who go to Mass together, who pray together, who love one another in the Lord.
Share one another's burdens.
And then we bring other people around and say, hey, this is what talk about evangelization.
Yeah.
This is what our faith is. So, anything else?
No, did well.
You root for the Cavs on Thursday?
Yes. I'm going, it's Thursday,
and then you're going to try to go to one of the games, right?
I'll be at the Cavs game.
So we got the Cavs and Golden State.
Don't tell my son, though. He doesn't know that.
I'm not sure yet which side I'm on. So I kind of just want to be a
Cavs.
contrarian and go for the Golden State Warriors. But all right, God bless you. Thank you. You stop it.